Hey everybody, I'm going to talk today about how I finally processed my trauma of getting roofied. I want to step back and just confirm that everybody has trauma. I've never not met somebody with trauma, and it looks different for different people. You know, experiences that we've gone through that have fundamentally changed us as a person and left a mark. And I had a really hard time, when I was younger, up until a few years ago when I heard this, but I would compare my trauma to others and I could identify when somebody clearly had it worse than I did. And it would make me feel crazy thinking, well, why am I making such a big deal about this? They went through something so much worse. And it was shared with me that I could be in an ER bay and I could be next to somebody who's been in a horrible motor vehicle accident, and I could be there because I had a broken arm. And while I can be empathetic that that person is definitely suffering and they've been through something really bad, my arm doesn't hurt any less. I still carry my pain through the experiences I've gone through. When it comes to how I've processed my trauma, I did that when I was inpatient, again, because before I landed inpatient, I had to be wasted and I was raging or sobbing. And thinking about processing the trauma, I was genuinely terrified. I was scared that if I touched that rage or the grief and sadness of the experience, that I would never come back. And I can say now that you can get through it. And it was hard, but you gotta walk through that stuff and you can get to the other side. So what was most helpful to me is I did something in there called EMDR, eye movement desensitization and reprocessing. And basically what that is, it's bilateral stimulation where in the therapy sessions with the therapist, I would have a light bar that moved from right to left. I would have tickers in my hand that would move from right to left. I would have headphones on where the sound would go right to left. Because basically, your trauma is caught and you're continuously reliving it, and that gives your brain the opportunity to file it away so it doesn't own your story. It's just a part of your story. Something else that I did that I think was called Bataka, but it was actually very therapeutic for the anger that I had, is there was a very large foam block and it went up to probably my knees, and they gave me something that looked like a tennis racket. I'm trying. And basically I had women around me and they knew my story and they were saying things, and you, at the very beginning, you feel like an idiot and you're like hitting this foam block with a tennis racket, and very shortly, listening to the things that we're sharing, you ultimately end up harnessing that anger. And I hit that thing so hard for so long, and I kicked it up and down hallways that I ended up having a sweat line on my t-shirt from getting all of that anger out. I will say I've tried to Google Bataka and I don't see it. Maybe it's called something differently, but that really helped the anger. When it comes to filing the memory, EMDR really, really helped. I thought it was so hokey and stupid, but come to find out it works. Therapists do EMDR. So if that's something you're interested in, there are therapists out there that offer EMDR. But that's kind of how I got to the other side of this, and I can tell my story. I can share my experience, strength, and hope, because it was a defining moment for me in my alcoholism. But again, you've had stuff happen to you too, and I understand and I get it, and I'm so sorry, these experiences that you've had, and we can move on and get past them and have them be a part of our story, but not own our story. So thanks.